Hey, Composing Gloves here. I am wearing a hat, and today we're going to be talking about delay. When I was brand new, I thought delay pretty much sounded like this all the time. Do, 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 do. You know, if you have a hit, boom, 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 boom. However, I learned as I got, better at mixing and more educated about, the different tools that what I used to think was reverb, which was, gave you the sense of the space of the room, a delay could do a very, very similar thing, and actually quite often sounds a lot cleaner. So I'm going to play for you a sound, and it's this sound, and it's not got a delay on it. I just turned it off. I'm going to play for you a couple chords without it, and I'm going to show you that delay can add quite a great sense of space to your sound, and you can use it, and it's much cleaner than reverb many times because it doesn't have all those extra reflections. It'll still give you a sense of space, and maybe it'll give you the room size that you want or whatever, but it will not muddy up other elements in your mix. So if I play now, just a couple chords. And then let's put on the delay and see what that sounds like. So you could hear that we get way bigger sense of space. So this is without delay. We'll do different chords this time. Couple wrong notes, but it's been a while since I've played. And then here's with delay. And so you see we get that. Now, if you don't like the way that ends, because maybe some of you don't, what I recommend doing is you keep that. This is one delay. So that's one delay. One reflection is all you really need to establish a real sense of space, and you save yourself a lot of muddiness from things getting really muddy. And then I have made the cutoff go down, and I'm assuming that you're familiar with at least the basics of this from my last video, the Haas effect. So you know about reverb and delay, or not about reverb yet, but you know about delay, and you know about the Haas effect and how that can manipulate things. And so I've taken off some of the high end, and what that does, because if I had the high end in there, I get a much brighter room. I don't necessarily want that. Now, if I want to take care of that end note, because maybe I don't want it to cut off like that, I could just turn my feedback up a little bit, so it'll give me one of those. Now, again, that high end, it's a weird sounding room. Not very many rooms sound like that. So you bring it back because that stuff's going to be absorbed when it hits walls and things. Unless you have a super reflective room. I'm not a super big fan of the velocity sensitivity on my keyboard either. But anyways, you get the idea. You can really accomplish quite a sound. And when you're doing things with reverb, that's a very powerful thing. Now, some other quick things that when you're listening for reverb versus delay, that's one giveaway that is delay is you get, actually, it's quite hard to tell sometimes. But when you're listening, you should ask yourself, does that sound like it was a reverb, or does that sound like that was probably a delay? Sometimes you can't tell, because the way to really sell it is to automate this knob. So you have it down here when you're playing, and then you move it up. And then the other thing you should do is you should get your delay in sync. So this is always in sync whenever you're on one of these buttons. And you see you have your step here, right here. It uses a step system in order to sync it up with your tempo. And so these are in sync, so it'll naturally fall on the beat, and it will sort of lay some emphasis off of the delay, so you get those spatial cues without it being obtrusive. If you really actually want to hear a delay, you should move it slightly off and find a good spot that really works. But if you really want it to sort of hide in there a little bit better. And so, anyways, that's that. So when you're listening for delay, take a look for that. It can sound and give you a great sense of space. Now, if we were to do the same thing with reverb, you can totally do that. We're going to talk about reverb, but there's a lot more going on in a reverb plug. I love reverb and using it. It's a lot smoother and different. It just adds a different sort of sound to your mix. And so for that, there are reasons why you'd reach for this instead. But if you're just looking to get a sense of space, this can often be a great help, especially if you have a really busy mix. You use one or the other just depending on past experience. So I suggest that you try them both out and say, hey, this sounds like something I could achieve with this, and just try different times. And I'm using offsets here. I've also given it a stereo image. If we do that same delay thing in mono, And you can combine these and get a very nice reverby sound too that also is not quite as obtrusive as just a long reverb tail. Because a lot of people think you need a huge reverb sound to make it sound like it's in a big room. That's just not true. Another thing people underuse is the delay time, which is essentially it delays the reverb, which gives you another big cue on how big a room is. So let's take this. I've taken it. I've taken the stereo image away, and it's still nice, but it's not quite as luscious. Because you sort of need it coming. If you wanted to sound like reverb, you know, you need to. It can't be mono. No one has mono reverb. That's weird. Like if you did do mono reverb, it's not going to be nearly as effective as stereo reverb. Because the idea is you're getting random cues from all directions, and so if it's all coming at you, the exact same signal on both speakers, that's weird. So if you have any questions about this, let me know. Subscribe and have a blessed day.